Um, Thank you. So a little bit about me too. My name is Jordan Taylor, and I'm a director and coach here at Retrain Search. It's about 5 years ago now that I was a contingent recruiter. I was experiencing all of the common frustrations that come as part of that no win, no fee model. I had no commitment from clients. I was working on a fastest finger first approach. I had candidates dropping out all over the place. And actually, in hindsight, I was spending most of my time working for free. Then I graduated from the Retrain Search course and I never worked on a contingent basis again, going on to secure and deliver millions of pounds worth of business, all on a retained basis over the next few years. From senior vice presidents in California, managing directors in the UK, sales leaders across Europe. I used the tools, the lessons learned, the confidence that the course gave me to build stronger, deeper partnerships with my clients across the globe. I then spent 18 months or so as part of the community before Louise finally convinced me to come on board full time as a coach. Yeah, I'm very lucky to be able to help our members go on the same journey that I did. I've been here nearly 3 years now, full time. So
Time
yeah,
flies when you're having fun.
it does. You're right. You're right. So we have been spoilt with a really buoyant market, actually. Following the complete freeze in hiring during the pandemic, everyone went crazy, making up for lost time, recruiting like mad, and recruiters made hay while the sun was shining. I'm told it shines more in Australia. I hope it does. For a good 18 months or so. But last year there was a real shift and things changed. There was a lot of uncertainty in the market for some major recession, and the landscape changed again. People who just hadn't had to do any business generation, well, they realized they needed to. And not only were those old school contingent BD methods not working as well anymore, but when they did get a job on it was horrible. They had uncommitted clients, they were fighting over candidates, there were counter offers, dramatic dips in revenue. Contingent recruiters really struggled.
Some still
But
are.
yeah, some of them still are. Yeah, you're right.
Mm.
You're right. But can retained recruiters, they solved the problems that the contingent model wasn't solving. They cut through the noise, they positioned well thought through solutions for their clients, and they forged cleaner and more enjoyable journeys for their candidates, forming deep, meaningful relationships, but importantly, producing guaranteed forecastable revenue. All of the retained consultants that we're working with, they've started the year again with repeat retained business from last year.
Gem's a great example.
Yeah.
First day back, six searches signed off, retained to start the year. And Gem has moved from completely 100% contingent to 100% retained. Kicked off 2024 where most people were really struggling. Lucy, retainer, straight away, several days into January. Dennis moving his average fee from, let's get this wrong,
80 to 130k, no, 50 to 50,
50,
50 to 130k.
50k average fees. 50k average fees to
Yeah.
130k.
Yeah.
We're showing you these because we want you to know that this isn't just stuff that we're saying. This is actually what's happening.
It's possible.
Contingent recruiters moving from contingent to retained. Dennis was slightly more experienced in retain, which some people are that we work with, and it was just kind of going further. Lots of people have had no experience and they managed to successfully pivot from one model to another. So what will you choose to do? We're partway into the year. Some people are still having a hard time, but there's still time. So I want to share with you that basically I've found that most people providing a permanent or direct hire recruitment service would quite like to be operating on a retained basis. Sometimes this is to provide forecastable revenue for investment or some kind of transaction. But sometimes it's simply to improve the business model as it stands. But there are so many other benefits than those things. There's a massive improvement in productivity, and that helps with motivation, commission, and of course retention. But importantly, the education and the upskilling of consultants enables us to form much deeper, more meaningful relationships with our clients. And the clients see a benefit as well. their service levels improve dramatically. And at the same time, the time and the money that they need to spend on recruitment actually reduces. And even the candidate benefits from a cleaner process and a more enjoyable journey.
Yeah, they do. So the question that I asked many years ago is, so if it's all that great, why haven't we all done it already? Well, usually the companies, the individuals that we work with, they want to work on a retained basis. They've communicated this, they've gained support, they've encouraged the use of retained pricing models. Often they've even kind of provided or they've had some training on how to sell retainers. And there are some wins, there are some great consultants, but they still haven't managed to build something that's consistent and therefore scalable. And in my experience, the main reason for this is there is still a really big barrier. A lack of experience, a lack of knowledge, that generates a lack of confidence, causing a negative mentality and a negative perception. I've found that most recruiters have either one retained and then they've struggled to deliver, or have one retained assignments and then delivered using the normal contingent method, or they've not even tried to sell it, right? They just haven't tried to sell retained searches. They don't really understand it. They think it's a mystical process reserved for exec level roles. And lastly, some actually aren't even sure at all, right? They think it's not really any different to the contingent model.
And the problem is that if you don't have a full understanding of what retained is, it's very, very difficult to sell. So what we're going to be doing in our session in Sydney is sharing that with you. And we're going to come on to that in a moment. And in the meantime, we're going to get you moving in this direction. So we're going to give you our 10 tips, which have given our retained recruiters the most success in winning retained projects. So firstly, when it comes to new business development, I can't remember ever winning a piece of retained work over the phone. All of the failed pitches that I've unpicked, this is one of the most common denominators. So the first tip we're giving you today is don't risk it. The lead is just too valuable to screw up with a simple mistake like this. Get on a Zoom call or a Teams to have a proper conversation that they won't forget. And better still, get out and see them. There's no need to overcomplicate this. Just send your Calendly link, or if you're on the call with them, say, brilliant, I'd love to find out all about it. I'll send you my Zoom link for us to jump in there, or I'm downtown tomorrow afternoon. What time works for you? Whatever you do, get the meeting. The second tip is, it's so tempting when a client starts talking to you about a requirement to switch straight into brief-taking mode. Listen to the requirement and then explain how we're going to solve it, right? No, make them go back to the start and find out why they're talking to you or even entertaining having a conversation with you and not the firms that they've worked with before. If you don't do a thorough diagnostic of the effectiveness of previous methods, then it can be really difficult to handle some of the objections that come up. Like, but why would I pay you a retainer when there are so many firms that will work without money up front? If you've done your work at the front end, then this is going to be easy. You can simply say, absolutely, I'm not suggesting that you should change the way that you're working for this type of position if what you do normally is working for you. However, what you told me earlier is that you're frustrated that the quality of the candidates is poor, or you're getting bombarded by agencies, or the last position like this took several months to reach completion on. And this is the way to solve that. So will you let me demonstrate the difference in outcome of working in this way? So a rhythm that I found works really well is to start with the individual, get them talking about them and get control of the meeting by asking the first questions. I'm keen to find out all the business in this position, but first tell me about your career trajectory. It's so impressive. How are you finding life at this firm? Move them on to the business and what's going on and take a bigger picture view. Demonstrate your knowledge and credibility by showing you've done your research, and then move on to talent acquisition and take a bigger picture view of that too. How are you finding the market for talent at the moment? And this is where you can find out about the methods they normally use and how well it goes for them. How do you normally go about making a hire like this, and how does it go for you? Do they always get what they want when they want it, and is it an enjoyable process? It's only when you found out why that they're talking to you Do you then move into the reason that they want to talk and then their need and their requirement? Once you know the need and you're confident you can help them, my next tip is show them. Show them how and what it will be like to work with you. Don't just tell them. It's really boring. Bring your story, your background and your experience to life with visuals. Explain and illustrate what you want to do and how you will do it differently. It's a scientific fact that visuals remain in the mind longer than the spoken word. So reinforce this with evidence and talk through a recent project, the problem that that client faced, i.e. that the contingent model wasn't yielding particularly good results, and how you solved it with a retained methodology.
Nice. For example, here's how I might talk them through the ways in which I partner my customers. So I would say, Louise, this is the bit that I really wanted to get to because we actually work with our clients in different ways depending on their specific circumstances. For easy to fill everyday hires, we provide a contingent recruitment service. You'll be familiar with this. It's a no-win, no-fee service, often in competition with other suppliers. There's very little commitment on either side, and it can work relatively well for straightforward or lower level positions. However, when things start to get more challenging, whether that's a difficult location, a niche skill set, hard to fill senior, confidential, or indeed multiple hires, we instead always apply a search methodology. And retained search is exactly that. It's our headhunting service. And for our clients who are embarking on a period of growth or have ongoing needs, we apply that same rigorous process, but we offer economies of scale for multiple hires. And then make sure you reinforce it by asking and recommending the retained solution, demonstrating process and capability with a nice case study too, before finally close with confidence and a question. Something like, so Louise, I am absolutely certain of my ability to achieve a superb result on this project. Will you let me demonstrate that on this assignment? Not just, I'll send you a proposal for you to review. In fact,
don't send proposals at all. If you send a proposal, you're basically putting the ball in their court and then you have to sit like a lemon waiting to see whether it ever comes back. Not a nice position to be in.
Sit like a lemon.
I don't know why. I always just feel like a bit of a lemon. I don't know what that phrase and where it's come from, but that's how I feel. For years, I sent proposals, years. I wish somebody had taught me all this. I'd be retired by now if somebody had taught me all this at the beginning of my career. You probably would too, wouldn't you, if it was earlier on, a few years earlier. It's closing with a question like, will you let me work with you on this project? Or if what you're looking for is another agency to send CVs in the hope that something's right, then I'm not the right choice on this. If, however, you're looking for an expert who will apply a systematic, tenacious and rigorous process and work in partnership with you until we reach a result, then I absolutely want to be the one to do that. What do you say?
Absolutely.
And that means that you're going to get, I mean, some people say that, but most of them don't first time around. They normally start to share some of their worries or their concerns with you, like, well, I don't know, how much does it cost, or nobody else is asking me to do this. Why should I pay
what
you
happens if you don't fill it?
What happens if you don't fill it? And you'll need to handle their questions. And we can't do everything with you today, but there are logical, straightforward explanations and ways to give them the reassurance and comfort so that they're happy to step into this relationship. And after handling those questions and objections, the next tip is to close again by booking the next meeting in. And the way that I do this is absolutely, they normally ask for a proposal. That's normally what happens. And if they don't, then I'll say, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go away. I'm going to put a proposal together. It'll detail everything that we've covered today, including my understanding of what you need and the way that I want to carry out the project and the commercial proposition, and that'll be ready tomorrow. When are you free for me to talk you through it, and who else needs to be on that call so I can answer any questions that they're going to have as well?
Nice.
Thanks.
Importantly, in that proposal meeting, never assume. There will be people on that call who weren't privy to that original conversation. So unfortunately, you need to tick all of the boxes again. Yeah, we need you to reconfirm their fundamental need, their previous experience of trying to solve similar appointments, walk through who you are again quickly, your background, your experience, talk through your understanding of their specific requirements again, and check that everybody is aligned. And then walk them through, sorry, how you want to work with them, reinforce that with evidence of how you've solved similar challenges for somebody else.
And it sounds like a longer process than it would be just to take the job and then send CVs for free, which it is. But remember, you're asking them to part with a significant sum of money. So you do need to put the effort in at the front end to give them the comfort to step into this relationship with you. The brilliant thing is, though, once you've converted them, as Jordan knows only too well, they don't go back, and you don't need to do this all over again.
As long as you deliver.
As long as you deliver, and we'll come on to that. And the more time that we spend together, the more you'll learn about that.
Yeah. But it is worth the time, right? Because
it is worth the time.
The grass is absolutely greener.
It is worth the time. And what we find, and what I found, is a market that isn't used to retain, so that is predominantly, if not all, contingent, takes this amount of effort to explain to them why you want, because they're not used to this process. But once they are, and once they step into this with you, the questions you get are, why did nobody suggest that we do it like this before?
Yeah, absolutely. And then at the end of the proposal meeting, move it to the briefing meeting. And I like to be really assumptive with this close. So I would say, any sniff from Louise if she wants to do this, I would say, fantastic, Lou. I'm delighted to be working with you. I really am. Well, you've told me you would like this person in place by start of July. We need to allow a little bit of time for notice period. That means we need to have an offer accepted probably by the beginning of June at the latest. We need to allow 2 weeks for your interviews, 2 weeks for our interviews, and a couple of weeks for our research too. I suppose what I'm trying to say is we've got no time to lose. We really need to get started on this as soon as possible. Let's book in the kickoff call for Tuesday next week. I'll need everybody involved in this process to be present on that call. I have time at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Do you have access to their diaries, Louise? What time works for everybody on Tuesday next week?
Very good. So the next tip, the 10th tip, is get friendly with your conversion rate. So mine is 1 in 3. Some of the people I coach is better than that. In fact, one of the guys I was coaching yesterday is 3 in 4. Once you know yours and you know your average fee, then you can work out how many meetings you need to hit your revenue target for the year and break it down to a monthly meeting target. When you have a proven process, business development is simply about getting the meetings, and the rest takes care of itself. We don't have time to go into the digital marketing piece that we teach to generate leads to get the meetings, but that there are more than one way to skin a cat, and there are lots of different ways of getting those meetings. At the moment, the lowest hanging fruit for most of the people that we coach is with their existing clients.
Try in front of them. Yes. Yeah. Our easy step-by-step program. The reason I say it's easy, because if I can do it, you guys can. Our step-by-step program, it teaches contingent recruiters to sell, but also deliver retained search. It does not matter what market you're operating in. It doesn't matter what salary levels you're working at. One of the teams that used our program, they went from no retained revenue at all to over $500,000 in just 5 months. Another won their first retained project on a 500k basic salary hire. The fee was just over £90,000. That is probably about 170 Australian dollars thousand. Yeah, it does. And another of our clients, after just 6 months, are 100% retained, when previously they'd done no retained revenue, no retained search at all.
Several, in fact.
Yeah, several of them. The training generates results, sometimes very, very quickly, and sometimes it takes a little more time, but all of our clients see an increase in revenue by investing in this. But importantly, many consultants tell us that they were disillusioned, they felt stagnant before they learned how to transition their relationships to retained. And I really get that, because it's exactly how I felt when I did this training back in 2018. But just like me, they now talk of the benefits of working with committed clients with a true partnership approach, and like me, they've gone on to be more successful, but happier in their work than ever before. We take a very straightforward approach to this. It's often been described as taking the bullshit out of selling retained search.
The students we work with, our members, often get results incredibly quickly and eye-opening results too. We've been operating globally for the past few years, but admittedly our focus has been UK, US, and only partly in Australia. And the results that we've seen coming from Australia and New Zealand have been phenomenal. So we're doing more and more with you guys over there, and we're going to share with you in a moment the plan for that. But we wanted to share with you the types of things that happen when people start to use these techniques to convert clients that have never even heard of retained. And these are consultants that have never worked on a retained basis. They're not changing the level that they're working at. This isn't being applied at executive or anything different to what they would normally do. This is the same market, the same clients that have no idea what retained is, but explaining and educating them in this way changes the relationship completely. And how happy you are in your work, because that's exactly what happened to me too. So we wanted to share some examples that we have experienced in Perth, in Sydney, again in Sydney, in Christchurch, in Melbourne, in Canberra. And all of these people are happy to share with you their experience, and the majority of them had no experience of retained at all and are now working and operating completely on a retained basis. And all of those little videos and them talking about it are on our website, so you can have a little listen to their journeys and what it's done for them. So whether you're a recruiter, whether you're an independent recruiter, whether you're a business owner, a business leader, our training works. And it's not that difficult.
No, it's not.
So tell everybody what our plan is, George.
Well, this is normally the part where we would say, so if you're interested, book a call with us. We can speak to you over Zoom.
Yeah.
But we can go one further this time. So me and Louise embark on our long journey to Australia. Me on Saturday, I think Lou, you Saturday as well, maybe?
Sunday.
We are in Sydney. Week commencing the 13th of May.
Yeah.
We are running our very own masterclass on the 15th of May in CBD Sydney. You guys need to be there. If this is the journey you're going to take, it is going to be an awesome day. I'll start with us. We are going to be running you through the full pitch, and we're going to be giving you the pitch deck.
Yeah.
So you can get out there and start winning. We're also going to be workshopping the main objections that you're going to come up against.
Yes.
So you're going to leave that session with the pitch, with the objections. We're going to be joined by Az Khan and Lucy from HumeScope, who are going to be doing a full session on softer skills, presence, everything you need. Business development, exactly. Dave Wollstonholme from Brand Me Better. He's going to be doing a session on how to cut through with your content, perform content on socials. And Kyle Blake from KBFC is also going to be doing a session for all of you leaders, business owners, on how to ensure you retain as much of your profit and revenue as possible.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Hopefully Charlie has been able to put the link for you to sign up to that day. It's peanuts. We're not doing it as a profit maker. We're not doing it to generate revenue. We're just covering the costs of running the day. We want to bring as much of our knowledge and experience to you to help you see what can be done in your market. And there are still tickets available. There's only a limited amount of tickets. I think 60 or 70 have already gone. We've only got 100 seats in the auditorium. It'll be a full day with lunch. It's next to nothing for the cost of the ticket, drinks afterwards, networking, as well as these 4 incredible masterclasses. And we would really love to see you there. So you've got the link. I can't remember whether the early bird rate still applies, but if you can get that, then it will be there for you in that link.
Yeah. Or alternatively, just pop yes in the chat, and if you don't want to follow the
if
link,
you're
we'll come to
interested.
you and we'll get you signed up.
Yes. So if you can't for any reason attend and you can't come to that masterclass event, what should they do, George?
Find a way to come. No, I'm joking. Yeah, the alternative is they can book a call with us. If you can't be there, for any reason, you can book a call with us. We'd love to learn more about where you're at with things, and how we can help you move forward on this journey.
We offer free strategy sessions and no obligation. We'll just find out where you are, give you some help, give you some advice. And if that's all you need, cool, brilliant. We'll set you off with whatever, let you go with whatever you want. And we know that some of you will want a bit more and will want to learn other stuff, and that's cool too. So hopefully we're going to see as many of you as can make it actually in person. I mean, we very, very, very rarely do in-person training. Very, very, very rarely. So whether we'll ever do anything like this again, I don't know. But please,
it helps if it's in places like Sydney, though, doesn't it?
I know. We're really looking forward to it. And we'll hopefully see you there. We're going to open the floor now for questions. Does anybody want to talk to us? Do you have anything that you want to unpick? I'm just going to have a look and see if anybody wants to. Clean to book a call direct. Cheryl, brilliant. Great. The link to book a call. Charlie, she's put the link in there. She's one step ahead. So you've got two options there in the comments. You can book your tickets to come and see us. And or book a call. And when we see you at the masterclass, we'll also give you opportunities to have free strategy time with us too. So don't worry, it's not like one or the other. You'll get both. Does anyone have a question? Will there be another one? I only arrived July. Oh, Michelle, book some time into our diary and we'll talk to you over Zoom for now. If we do another one, I mean, that'd be nice. If it goes well, I don't see why not. G'day, mate. So anyone want to talk to us? Thanks for the introduction to your work. I'll reach out directly. Cool. No problem, Matt. We can have some time together on a call, find out more about you, give you some help if you want it. Does anyone want to ask a question while we're here? Does anybody have any kind of burning, but what about this? Or what about that? Or I don't understand this. Michael. Let's find you, Michael. Where are you? Michael. There we go. Can you talk to us, Michael?
I think so. G'day, guys. Can you hear me?
Hi, Michael.
G'day. Hello. Thank you very much for that. Very interesting stuff. Really enjoyed it, so thanks. A question I've got for you is, I think you mentioned, Lou, that understandably the low-hanging fruit is contingent clients, where you've got pre-existing relationships and credibility, etc., and just sort of, transitioning them to a better model. I imagine that is very much the low-hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm.
What about where you don't have existing clients? You and I spoke a little while ago, Lou. I've set up a new business, so I'm in the unenviable scenario of not having clients at the moment. And I'm just interested to get your perspective of, winning new clients under a retained model from the kind of outset, how realistic that is, and whether you've got much perspective on that, or sort of, whether you can discuss any scenarios where, students have achieved that from a standing start.
Yeah, absolutely. So many. I mean, the people that are coming to mind, and they're all on the website. Zoe Upson, she set up her own business she was actually an oil trader before she set up as a recruiter. She didn't actually have any experience in recruitment and set up as a recruiter. And I remember doing a sales call and thinking, oh my God, that's a big step to go from oil trader to retained as well. Because she said, there's just no way I'm going to be a contingent recruiter. I've learned about the different models and there's no way I'm doing it. She did it. She's fully retained. She does over $1 million in revenue. She's got a small team, 2 or 3 researchers, but went fully retained from scratch without even any recruitment experience. I mean, that's an extreme. Tim Wilkinson, not dissimilar. He was a product manager in tech and he set up as a recruiter, and he came to us and said, if I'm going to do this, I'm I'm going to do it properly and I'm going to be retained from the start. I don't know where he is now. Last time I spoke to him, he was consistently winning retained comfortably.
He put his team through it after he did it as well.
Did he? Yeah, did he?
Yeah,
I remember seeing an email from him saying like it's just changed my life, basically. And then Jo, even in Canberra, Jo Shapley, so she started her firm and had a load of non-competes when she left Hayes, so she couldn't touch her existing clients. We coach, she's in a mastermind now, she's in our mastermind group now, so she has just won a retained multi-hire campaign, which is about the 5th or 6th retained project she's won since she set the firm up. I can go on. I mean, the short answer is
terrific.
Yes, it's possible. Some people, it can be easy to think that existing clients are the easiest to convert, and a lot of recruiters, for us and as coaches and the journey that we've been on too, it can feel easier in many ways because you've got an existing relationship. But the challenges that you get and the challenge you have is they've got a preconceived idea of how you work. And so you get just as many objections, they're just different. Whereas with a new client, you don't have that preconceived idea of how you work. But of course, they've never worked with you before. So the objections are, well, who are you? And what if I give you this money and you run off with it? So you've still got objections to overcome either way. They're just different objections.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I just think people feel more comfortable initially with existing clients at times because it's one variable that isn't different. At least they know the client and they've got that relationship. But actually, in many ways, I think it's easier taking this solution to new customers.
Yeah,
I agree.
So
once you get good at it, there's no difference. It's just as easy or difficult to convert an existing client as it is to win a new client from scratch.
Yeah. Yep. Got it. Good stuff. Thanks, guys.
No
Pleasure.
problem. Thanks,
Love
Mike.
to talk to you again and dive into more about what you want to do and how we can help
terrific.
you. Can you make Sydney? Can you make Sydney? You're probably in
Look,
Sydney.
I'm going to try and make it. I'm actually surfing up in Byron Bay on holidays. So
of course you are.
It means I've got to cut my. It's going to eat into my surfing time, so that's a concern. But no, I am trying to. I'm trying to restructure things. So I'm certainly
think of
keen.
it as an investment of time. We'll help you create more surfing time.
Yeah.
I like your thinking there, Lou. Very.
Yeah.
Mike, you do know the sharks in Australia, right?
Well, thank you for that insight, mate.
No sharks at our session in Sydney, mate.
Definitely keen. I've just got to kind of change a few things to make it happen, but certainly compelling, and certainly would like to get there for sure.
Well, hopefully we see you, but if we don't,
we'll see you there.
have a lovely holiday.
Thank you very much.
Couple of hands up. I'm going to come to Chris next. Hello, Chris. Can you talk to us? I think we can hear you. Chris?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, got you.
Hi, Chris.
Hello. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Quick question. Well, I don't know if it's quick. Look, we, my agency, we recruit predominantly across the community service sector. So a lot of social work and allied health. Now, although we do all levels, right up to exec, the bulk of what the business does is at the frontline level. And a large portion of the business which we do is within the not-for-profit sector. My kind of hesitation, and also when I've talked to my team about it, is if it would work when you're pitching on your frontline roles. So I'm talking about child protection, domestic violence, mental health, these kind of things. And predominantly when these roles come up, quite often, especially with the not-for-profits, the need is always yesterday. It's not like roles, say for example in corporate or sales, where you might plan for it and it's going to sort of expand and it's a different need for it. With this model, like, I know you said that you can do it for any market. Can you still apply the same amount of sort of time and thought process and commitment that you would want to give? Because everything that I hear about retained, in my mind, I'm always kind of leaning more to your senior management, your execs, those kind of roles. Like, does it suit that kind of a market? And can you still apply it to those kind of positions? It's perm roles I'm talking about. But we don't necessarily get given like I wish we did, sort of 2 to 4 weeks to run a full campaign, because the need for these positions, when there's vacancies, they need filling yesterday.
Yeah. Okay. Can I take that to begin with,
Yeah.
George?
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, great question. Brilliant question. I love it. And I really like that you're interested in looking at, this model as a solution to serve your clients and, of course, your firm and your team in a better way. And the answer is, I can share with you from experience rather than advice, is that I have successfully won, retained and converted contingent work to retained in the not-for-profit space.
Okay.
Those have been things like Girl Guides was one I remember. It wasn't difficult. Yes, there was a sign-off process, but with a clear business case for it, and as a solution that they were, I can't remember how they phrased it, piloting. It worked beautifully. There was others, and the other thing that's springing to mind is the GPs and doctors. So we work with several firms in the healthcare space. One of them, there's several people actually on the website talking about it. John Watchorn, Matt Oakey, recruiting doctors, nurses into care homes, and they talk about it. And actually in their testimonials, they say we weren't sure whether it was going to work. And it did. So there's some more evidence to show you that in that kind of market, it does actually work. And I know, and the preconception, and there are a lot of misconceptions and preconceptions about working on a retained basis. And one of the most common ones is that it's for senior and executive hires, which an executive search process is, right? That exhaustive research process with the layers of candidate assessment, with the long listing and the short listing and the behavioural profiling and formal referencing. Yes, that is absolutely suited to senior and executive hires. But what I've found, and Jordan's found the same thing, and the people that we work with find it for themselves, is that retained isn't just about executive. It is a model of being able to provide a solution where other models are falling down. And it can be any kind of solution at any level. It can be a single search mandate. It could be a multi-hire campaign. It could just be a niche, difficult hire that isn't particularly senior. It could be a program of support over a longer term, 6-12 month basis. But the model doesn't change. And that is that the principle of it, which is some financial commitment from the client, enabling us to put in place a process, whatever that process is, to be suited to solving that problem, in order to commit to making sure that we reach a result. So it could be an engaged model where some financial commitment allows us to work against SLAs and deliver X number of candidates in X amount of time, which in turn allows us to reach a result. There would be SLAs on the client side too. And for me and the people that we work with, and for Jordan too, that is just as much of a retained solution as an executive search solution. So in what we do, and the way that we've learned to bring this and explain this to clients successfully, is to define what those different ways that we work with our clients, depending on the circumstances, are. So if it's an easy to fill everyday position, like I won't say nurses because I know they're not very easy to fill, but like some of the administrative support positions, so you can just put an advert out, field a load of CVs, and bang, within a few days you make a hire. There's no need to apply a retained solution because there isn't an issue, there isn't a problem. And the contingent model works perfectly well in those situations. However, if for any reason it's more challenging, like it's a bit niche, or it's an area of very short talent, or it's very competitive, or for whatever reason there's a skills shortage, not that it's particularly senior, then we instead apply a retained solution that allows us to commit to making sure that we reach a result, to put a process in that makes sure that we reach that result. And if it's senior, executive and C-suite, then we do put an executive search solution in that's appropriate for that level of position, which in turn also enables us to commit to making sure we reach a result.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because we thought maybe, especially with the regional and remote areas here, that potentially it could be something that would be good for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Can I just add to that as well, Chris? One of the other biggest misconceptions is that retained is slower. And I find when the process is applied in the right way, it is comfortably faster.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a total misnomer. It's an absolute misnomer. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, we are coming. We're booked on for Sydney, and I've got a couple of my senior. I'm bringing a couple of my senior consultants as well. So there'll be a few of us there. So I'll come and say hello.
Nice.
Fantastic.
It'll be nice to be another northern lad.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
And David, have we got time? Yes, I think we have. Good morning, David. Evening. Good day.
Good afternoon. Thanks, Lou and Jordan. Great to see you.
Hi, David.
And thank you very much for getting up so early for us to be able to be on the Australian time for a change. A couple of questions. One that I think we're dealing with is in a business at the moment where we're well known in the industry of being able to, being specialised in our areas, but we're very much a candidate. We have a lot of candidates available, but the clients, we're trying to get them to come across the line. Is this a way to hopefully get them, because they all understand, they all take our advice, they all listen to what we're doing, but getting them to give us the jobs is 3/4 of the battle. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure I understand the problem. Let me, if it's okay, maybe dive into that a bit more. When you say the difficulty is getting them to give you the jobs.
Well, we're trying, whether it's at the moment we're contingency, but I've been looking at trying to go retain for a while. It's just about how we I suppose process it through the business. So we work a lot in the defence industry in Australia. We understand where the shortfalls are. We understand we've created some great solutions of helping serve the community on fixing those problems, and how to gain. We've very much got a high amount of candidates available for our clients. So we're looking at things like reverse marketing candidates, or it may be, our biggest struggle is trying to convert those clients to say, hey, we actually have the right people for what you're looking for. We have the solution. We can explain the solution, but getting them to be retained, I suppose, or commitment is always the concern.
Yeah, I'm still not sure I understand so if we can just take the clients for the moment, let's put the solutions and the candidates to one side. If we look at the firms in the space that you're operating in.
Yeah. So
do they hire? Are they hiring?
They're all forever crying out they need people. They can't find anybody.
Great.
We have plenty of people for them, but yet they don't want to pay for it or engage.
Okay. Well, let's just go back to the client again. So they're crying out for people.
Yep.
Defence, from my experience, there's quite a lot of niche skill sets in there that are quite sought after and can be quite competitive. Is that similar for you? Okay.
Not so much the competitive is there isn't that many. Well,
Yeah.
yes, there is.
So they're
competitive, in fact,
sought after, aren't they? Those skills are quite, okay, they're quite rare. Yes, I've had some experience of that. So, and do you work with these clients at the moment? Or do you have an existing business where you're making money from placing candidates contingently?
Not to the level I would like. The contingent that we're getting is it's probably low to those 20% and things like that of the conversion. And we do a lot, and we're known for being quite specialised in it. And marketing, we're getting it out there, and people.
So sorry, let me just stop you for a second, David. If I just concentrate on. I think it might be best if we take it offline so I can dive into it a bit deeper. Yeah. But I'm just trying to get in under the skin of what the relationship with your clients is at the moment. If you are actually are you placing candidates contingently into those firms at the moment?
We have done some, yes, but not enough.
Okay. Instinctively, my thoughts are that the focus here has been quite heavily on you and the solutions that you want to take to the clients. We want to do this. We want to convert the model. We've got solutions. We've got candidates. Is all we.
Right.
And when I've successfully got under the skin and set up new desks, new markets, businesses, before, it's always been the other way around, and starting with the clients and understanding where they are, what are they doing, what their needs are, what their thoughts are, what keeps them awake at night, what they struggle with, what's working for them at the moment, what's not working for them at the moment, and speaking to that, not speaking about us.
Okay.
And I know that's kind of a high level perspective, but when you take that approach, everything else and the messaging that you use, the way that you approach them, the way that you engage with them, and then the solutions that you provide speak into their need, not about you. So let's have a chat offline, and Charlie's put a link in the comments. Please put some time in for us so that we can dive into it together. Okay, great.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, David.
No problem. Thank you for your question. Have we got time? Do we need to go, George? We've got a little bit of time. We've got time for one more. Does anyone else want to talk?
I think we've got time for one more.
Have we got another question? Yeah, Matthew, you say it sounds like Michael's struggling to get roles released to agency. If there are lots of good candidates out there, clients are finding candidates direct, I guess. But I don't think that's what it is. I don't think it is, because in that market, that isn't what it's like. So we'll dive into him. We'll dive into it with him directly. That's what I thought originally as well, but I actually don't think that's what it is in that market. I've never experienced that. I mean, at some levels, it's easy. Your question, Michelle. Yeah, that's a nice one. Let's find you, Michelle. Thank you for the prompt. There you are, Michelle. Can you talk to us? Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, good morning. Hi, everyone. I was just wondering what the biggest objection or challenge you face when you're trying to talk clients into paying, or even selecting, or even thinking about retained search. I'm sure there's a lot, but what's sort of one thing that we need to
pick a number between 1 and 27.
Yeah.
I'm just is it the fact that they don't trust that we will deliver, or they've just been burned because the market is so there's just so many people trying to get retained, which I doubt, but I'm not sure. Or is it the money spent, or are they tainted? I just don't know what the market's like in Australia.
All of the above and 20 odd more. George, this is your area of expertise.
Yeah, I mean, it really does depend on the customer. Yeah, with often with smaller firms, it'll be around budget and wanting to keep the money in their bank as long as they can. Often, with bigger firms, the objection could be slightly different. They might have a different PSL for retained search. It really can vary depending on the client. But the one thing I'd say is I've never come up against an objection that isn't common sense. That
So
I don't think. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry, go on. I was going to say I haven't come up against an objection where I'd sit there and think I don't understand why they're asking that question.
Okay.
And the answers to each of those objections are typically common sense too.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, if they do say, well, we've already paid a retained search to this and this person, does that mean it's a loss and we walk away?
No.
Or is there a way around it that you...
In that particular situation, then I would dive in to find out what happened. I mean, my first instinct is, I'm so sorry to hear that, because they've gone down a process of putting their faith in somebody and financially investing into something that then hasn't produced the result that they were looking for. So that's not going to have been a good experience. So I'm first going to really empathize with them, that I'm so sorry. And I remember, George, you once said to me, it's like a dagger to my heart when I hear that, because it's awful.
My wife tells everyone I'm a drama queen. I don't know why.
But it used to really upset you, didn't it, that we'd come across clients that have had that happen to them. And sadly, it does really happen, but it normally happens for one of two reasons. It's either that it's a contingent agency that has persuaded the client to give them some money up front, but they don't actually have any experience or enough experience of managing that retained process and putting in place the method that they need to make sure that they get that result, because the commitment from the client needs to be there too. Not just the money itself isn't what solves the problem. It's the process that you put in place and the way in which you interact with that client that drives that project to a result. You know, just having the money in the bank doesn't necessarily solve the problem. Sometimes it does. It just means you can go a bit further or spend a bit more time on it, and it's as simple as that. But in most cases, there needs to be something else. And it's either that's happened, or it's that they've gone down the route of using a sophisticated search firm or one of the big search firms, and by nature many of the retained firms and the search houses are more complacent, and their completion rate says a lot. You know, they're published, the Association of Executive Search published a completion rate not long ago, and their overall completion rate stands at 67%. So they're failing in a third of cases. So you do meet a lot of clients that have gone down a retained route, particularly at senior levels, and not reached a result. So I normally explain that to the client and explain that these are the scenarios that we tend to find, and dig into what might have happened and what's gone wrong. And the reason that I do that, and I explain to them, and the reason that I'm doing this is because it's such a shame that they've had this experience, because done properly, this is the way that we're going to solve their problem. And as somebody that I met recently actually quite nicely put it, why would you shy away from a model when somebody has, because somebody has failed you in it? It doesn't, they aren't the right people to guide you into whether you should use that model or not. So I normally make it easy, though, for them to step into the relationship with me, and I'll structure the financials that will make it really easy for them, because they've had this bad experience, because they're nervous of making a financial commitment. Let me de-risk it for you, and I'll take steps to de-risk the first project for them in it to enable me to carry out the project in this way and reset their experience of working in partnership. So that's just one, you know, I'm just talking through one of them there, but all 27 of the most common objections that come up have logical, straightforward, easy to understand reasons behind the question in the first place, and in turn responses to give them the comfort to partner with them.
Thank you. I appreciate all of that.
My brain is not as fast first.
Thanks, Michelle. No, I get it.
I'm on my second coffee for the day.
I didn't wake up early enough to have time to go and get a coffee. I stumbled downstairs, straight into the office, laptop on. I'd love to say I was up an hour and a half before preparing, but
yeah, I think we'll be on even better form when we're in Sydney time zone and on the stage. So we're really excited to see those of you that considering the time difference.
Can I just answer Matt's question quickly in the chat? Because he said, considering time difference, how do you propose to offer training and consultation to Oz recruiters? We've already got a big customer base in Australia, in Asia, in Tokyo, in New Zealand. So the way we run our program, Matt, all of the coaching sessions are split in terms of time zones. Some to work for everyone over your side of the world in Australia, and some to work for the people over in the US. So that's already in place and working really well.
Yeah, exactly. We do exactly the same with the other side of the world in North America. So, which is why the time is right for us to come over and share it with you, and get those of you that want to work in this way open and seeing the possibilities of it, so that you can start to do it for yourselves. All right, that is definitely all we've got time for. I'm going to jump into my next call and crack on with my day. Hopefully we'll see as many of you all on the 15th. Make it on the 15th. And if you can't, book some time in. It'll be in probably a couple of weeks' time, and we'll talk to you when we get back. Thank you, Charlie, for waking up
Thanks,
early.
Charlie.
Thank you, everybody. Lots of love.
Thanks,
soon.
Sam. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, David.